What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Jets Fishing Adventures. And in this episode, we're going to cover my top 5 rods that every bass fisherman should own. One right there. So there's 3 things you need to know before you go to buy your rods. The number 1 thing is technique. What are you planning on throwing? Example, finesse, jig fishing, some kind of reaction style baits, drag in the bottom. So once you know what technique you want, then that will kind of dictate what kind of action and power and kind of length that you want. So let's talk about power and action. So the power of a rod really dictates the backbone of a rod. The main power that you'll see in all fishing rods are one of 3, maybe 5 if you get more in depth in your techniques, but the main common ones are moderate, medium heavy, and heavy. That's the ones I recommend starting off if you're a beginner fisherman, but the power really dictates the backbone. If you can see, and when I set the hook in videos like this one right here, you can really see this backbone come into play. Let's talk about action right quick. So the action of a rod is kind of the reaction, if you will. It's the very tip of the rod. It's how soft the tip of the rod is. This rod here is a medium heavy fast action. So what you'll get is a little bit more a faster reaction when it lifts up, or when it loads up and you set the hook. It's more of a faster, more stiffer reaction. The main actions that you'll find are fast, medium, and extra fast. There's some more mixed in. The main common is a moderate, a medium, a fast, and an extra fast. So now after you have all that, you kind of want to look at different rod lengths per technique. The most common rod lengths are anywhere from a 6'6" to an 8-foot rod. In the bass fishing, if you do other fishing, catfish, they go up to like 10 foot. And if you ice fishing or crappie fishing, you can go down to, but this video is mainly for bass fishing, and main bass fishing lengths are 6'6" through 8 foot. On kind of a rare occasion 8 foot, but I've seen them. All right, so after we've learned all the lingo, how to select a rod, we're gonna go into my number 1, and that is a 6-foot medium fast action spinning rod. This rod right here can get you by using any kind of finesse techniques. Example, like a wacky worm. This is my pretty much solely wacky worm rod. I do throw an underspin on it, a little finesse underspin on it every once in a while. We just got done fishing Dale Hollow with Tennessee Bass Nation, so that's why that's on. But this 6'6" rod is really good for all your small finesse profiles, some of your shad wraps. And this rod is actually a Shimano Celis. You can probably, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, comment below. But this is like a $49 rod, a great rod if you're wanting to get into bass fishing and you're wanting a really good first spinning rod. This is an awesome rod for that. It is a kind of a low budget, so if you break it, it's not too big of a deal. But it's surprisingly very sensitive for being that low budget rod. Now, with a lower budget rod, you will find that the actions and the powers are very similar once you start going up. So this is a fast action. As you can see, it's kind of more of a moderate, but this is a rod that I very recommend your first rod being just as a simple spinning 6'6", 6'8" spinning rod. You cannot go wrong with this. I've caught some giant fish on this underneath docks on wacky worms, and you can have some real fun days with this little cheap rod. All right, number 2, we're actually we're staying with a spinning rod for this one, but this is a 7-foot. I recommend a 7-foot medium heavy fast action spinning rod. What I would use this rod for would be shaky heads, Ned rigs like this Torrent. This rod around here is actually 7'2", but it's a medium, heavy, fast, really good. The reason why I would step up to a medium heavy for my second rod is just being able to have a little bit stouter, heavier line. This is 15-pound braid with 12-pound fluoro Seaguar. The reason why I would do that, you can fish a lot more baits. You can fish a little bit like lighter Texas rigs, bigger kind of some small finesse crankbaits as well. I like using it on this rod, but it's a really good rod to be able to handle a little bit bigger hook, as in if you see how much bigger that hook is versus a wacky worm hook. A shaky head has kind of a bigger hook on it as well, but this little bit extra, a little bit heavier rod can really bring home a hook set, and definitely a kayak. It can really bring home a good hook set, a lot better than the 6'6" rod will. And this would be my number 2. Definitely a good rod, a good selection. You can find a 7-foot medium heavy fast action spinning rod. You can find it anywhere. All right, going into number 3. You can go to any tackle shop and find what I'm about to talk about, but this is be a 7-foot medium heavy fast action bait caster. This is probably the most common rod in the world. I guarantee you can go to anybody's boat and we'll find a 7-foot medium heavy bait caster on their boat. This rod is great for Texas rig, smaller jigs. It's really your all-around versatile rod. Spinner baits, all your action style baits, chatter baits, blah 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 blah. A great rod. This is actually the Cashin 7'3", medium heavy. Really good all-around rod. This rod is a little bit softer reaction than some of your more budget-friendly fast actions. If you start buying the more expensive rods, you will find a difference in the action. All of them are very different. Really, any brand throughout the brand has different actions. You can get a fast action on one brand and a fast action on the other, and they're all just a little bit different. So remember that when you're kind of flip-flopping brands, when you're trying to find one that you like. But this rod right here has won millions and millions of dollars, probably even billions, if you will, in tournaments all across the world. And it's definitely a rod that I would recommend everybody having. And you probably already have one of these and you just don't know it. All right, for number 4, I've talked about a lot of bottom contact stuff. So if you're wanting to get a little bit more reaction style baits, you need to have a medium moderate rod. This is a 7-foot medium moderate. It's a very good crankbait rod. That's basically all you can use it for, to be honest. If you're not wanting a rod to only use crankbaits, I would recommend a medium heavy moderate, because you can fish it a little bit. You can fish more reaction style baits, but I would recommend, since you already have the 7-foot medium heavy fast, to get a 7-foot medium moderate so you can fish crankbaits really efficiently. Reason why you want a medium moderate with a crankbait, particularly treble hook baits, is this rod has a lot more give than a medium heavy. And then you got the moderate action right here. It's got a lot more give, a lot easier give. I wouldn't say it goes down more, but this is a St. Croix bass, Mojo bass. Really good cranking rod. Actually pretty reasonably priced. And this is one of my favorite rods. Really good for square bills. I use it for kind of smaller rattle traps. Really good rod. I also have used it for smaller swim baits. You need a real sharp hook if you're going to use a open hook like that, because you don't have that much of a backbone to it. But it's still a really good rod for a lot of reaction style baits. Even the little smaller chatterbaits, the little finesse chatterbaits, you could throw on this as well. This is a good rod as well for top water. Just, you got to remember to either change out your line to monofilament or braid, because fluorocarbon will sink and you won't get a good action out of your top water if you decide to fish it on this rod. And then last but definitely not least, my number 5, and that would be a 7 foot to 7'2" heavy rod. As you can tell, it's one of my favorite frog rods right here. This is actually a 7'2" heavy. This is a really fun rod to use because it's a very fun way to fish. I use it a lot with my frogs. There's no better way to catch fish in the summertime, maybe late spring, early fall, than a frog. It's probably the most fun way to fish. The blow-ups are amazing, but to get a good hook set, you gotta use a heavy rod, and it's a extra heavy it's a extra fast action. As you can tell, it has a really fast reaction, and that backbone really comes in and it's strong. This rod is great for Alabama rigs, flipping and pitching, bigger jigs like a football head jig. You can use it for wobble heads, Carolina rigs. It's a really good heavier style like bottom contact rod. It's very sensitive. This is actually an SLX, Shimano SLX. It's around $100 price point. Very sensitive for at that price point. But I would recommend using braid on this rod because of the style of fishing that you're going to be doing. That heavier, bigger baits. You can throw a glide bait on this as well. I personally don't, because I have a better glide bait rod, but I would if this was the only rod. Just watch, have your drag set right. Because of that heavier action, those treble hook baits can be pulled out of a fish's mouth. But this would be my number 5. Having a heavier rod for those bigger, heavier presentation jigs, or flipping and pitching, trying to pull a fish out of heavy cover, can really make a world of difference with a heavy rod. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I kind of blabbered on the heavy side of the rod, but this Sunday, January 26th, here's the event page right here. I'm hosting a Facebook Live at 10 o'clock. I'm not for sure on the time yet because of a lot of people are at church at that time. But January 26th is my 2-year anniversary on YouTube. And I wanted to do something special for y'all, my subscribers. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 1,000. And during this live stream, I've actually finally got some of my stuff for the giveaway that I promised at 600 subs. Very sorry about that, but doing the live stream will give me a chance to be able to do the giveaway very easily. John with Torn Outdoors were really nice enough to donate that for y'all, so be on the lookout. I already put an event page on my Facebook, so if you're watching this, head over to my Facebook and go ahead and say that you're going, and be on the lookout for that live stream this Sunday. But going back to the video, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope, the reason behind this video was I've gotten a lot of questions about fishing rods, what I like to use, and I think I'll go over all my rods in the future. Comment below if you want to see that video. I like to teach people, and I'm not the best teacher, but this was something that I thought would be kind of fun to talk about, the top 5 rods. And without me going on and on, thanks for watching. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see y'all next week.